Just as I graduated from college, my world completely collapsed. Apparently, I had a wife, without me knowing a single thing about it. So in order to get a divorce, I had to travel all the way to a remote military base at the border. Right at this moment, a crisp voice echoed, "Who are you looking for?" Looking at the woman who had just stepped out of the car, I replied, "I'm looking for Song Ching-hwan." "Do you two know each other?" Song Ching-hwan was their regiment commander. Was she not standing right in front of this young man? A flash of surprise crossed Song Ching-hwan's eyes. She originally had a very good memory, but standing before this handsome young man, she had absolutely no recollection of him, so she was certain she had never met him. "What do you want with Song Ching-hwan?" I had no idea. The person standing right in front of me was my nominal wife. I'm her husband. I came all this way because I have business with her. "Hey kid, you look so young, why? Do you lie the moment you open your mouth?" Song Ching-hwan doesn't have a husband. Who on earth are you? Song Ching-hwan's eyes showed clear vigilance. I had been traveling by car for 4 long hours and was already feeling extremely irritated. The attitude of these people in front of me was also so annoying, which made me lose my temper. "Excuse me, comrade? How are you so sure that Song Ching-hwan doesn't have a husband? Just call her out here to confront me and we'll be done." "What's with that look? Don't look at me like that. It's not like I was dying to come here. Being both tired and thirsty, coming here was indeed bringing trouble upon myself." "Comrade, the person standing right in front of you is our regiment commander. She is the Song Ching-hwan you are looking for." "What?" The person I wanted to find was standing right in front of me. It was over. My social anxiety kicked in. Everyone around was incredibly shocked. Everyone knew that the regiment commander had married. Back then, when Song Ching-hwan was about to be promoted to regiment commander, the higher-ups hinted that they would prioritize promoting those who had already settled down with a family. The bosses even said that a woman with a husband would feel settled and be dedicated to her work. Around that time, my family kept urging me to marry the grandson of my grandfather's savior, even though rumor had it he was just a dirt-poor farmer. I had seen his photo and found his appearance to be quite handsome. Besides, his family had saved my grandfather's life, so I thought this match was acceptable. However, at that time, I was busy with a mission, so things kept getting delayed. In the blink of an eye, 2 years passed. I had still never met the husband I had registered marriage with. Later on, when my work stabilized, I planned to contact him to see how things were and to ask if he wanted to move to the military base to live with me. But right after I asked, a disaster struck. That guy Wu Yabai actually cheated on me. I was deeply shocked by this ironic truth. 71 vertical bar. Moreover, destroying. This has already sabotaged. Military marriage is a crime. Originally, I planned to prosecute him to the end, but how on earth did I receive another piece of shocking news? That man had already committed suicide together with his mistress. The Song family had to consider things more carefully, and eventually let it go. There was no other choice. But that mistress, having survived by some miracle, was currently serving time in prison. Everyone in the military base knew about this shocking incident. The main reason was that Song Ching-hwan's superior asked about her family. The boss suggested she bring her husband here to live for a while to build up their relationship. Feeling pressured, Song Ching-hwan had no choice but to explain everything honestly to the boss. Who would have thought that a busybody passing by would overhear that guy had a big mouth? So in an instant, the entire camp found out about this cheating scandal. Now out of nowhere, a handsome guy showed up and claimed to be the regiment commander's husband. Zhou Ming, who was on guard duty, also felt something was off. Song Ching-hwan pulled back her thoughts. "I am Song Ching-hwan, and I do not have a husband." "Who on earth are you? Is this attitude because you're treating me like a criminal? Did you not receive the letter your family sent you?" Song Ching-hwan racked her brain to recall for a moment. Indeed, recently, she hadn't received any letters at all. Regiment commander, the guy who usually delivers mail, got sick. He's still bedridden at home right now. This area is remote. If we search randomly, we won't find anyone to take over his shift, so he had to take a few days off. It will probably take a few more days for the letters to arrive. How come, kid, you know so much about this? A few days ago, I went over to see if there was any mail from home. At the same time, I wanted to see if I could ask for leave in advance, so I went looking for him. That's when I found out he was bedridden with an illness. Since there was no one around to take care of him, I happened to buy some medicine for him. It's true that I haven't received the letter yet. But you should speak up. Let's see based on what you dare to claim to be my husband. My name is Yu Shen. I live in Yu Family Village, Liucheng County. Your husband should have been the son of Chief Yu, but he kicked the bucket. When his family was cleaning up the dead guy's belongings, They were shocked to find my name clearly written on the marriage certificate. The family investigated and finally found out that 2 years ago when Wu Yibai registered marriage, with you, the household registration page he sent was actually mine. Back then, the county required re-registration of household records. Every villager handed over their household register to the village chief's house so he could bring them to town for collective registration. That bastard Wu Yibai didn't want to marry you at all, but he was forced by his family, so he secretly took my household registration page and sent it to register marriage with you. That year, I was still studying at college in the capital, so I didn't know a damn thing about this. And my family back then was also careless, not bothering to check anything, so they didn't even know the household register had a page missing. Just like that, the flow of life naturally turned us into husband and wife on paper. If it weren't for this ridiculous mess, we wouldn't have been connected in a million years. 154. You are a dignified regiment commander holding high status. You are literally the regiment commander, highly respected, so you surely dislike this arranged marriage thing, right? I am exactly the same as you, so. The reason I traveled all this way is to get a divorce, but then again the elders on both sides insisted on having both of us build up our relationship. My family originally didn't want me to get a divorce at all, only hoping I'd stay and see how things go, even though I casually agreed back then. In the end, it was just a temporary plan. I came here to discuss collaboration with you. I will stay here for exactly 1 month. You can just treat me as if I'm invisible. To each their own business, no one interferes with anyone. Once 1 month has passed, both of us will call home and say, our personalities are completely incompatible, making it truly impossible to live together anymore, and firmly demand a divorce. This guy talks quite boldly. No wonder he exudes such a strong aura. Thinking about how the name on the marriage certificate was not Wu Yibai, that cheating scumbag, made Song Qinghwan feel much more relieved inside. Okay, you can temporarily stay here. When we get back, I will draft the divorce report right away. Thanks, I'll have to trouble you. For this month, then, you can just squeeze me into some corner where I can live and we're good, or is there any empty dormitory in the military base? I'll pay to rent it. For a month, you don't need to worry too much about me. Either way, I'll be leaving soon. The man in front of her, indeed, had a charm that made people unable to take their eyes off him. Yu Xin's hands, surprisingly, didn't have a single callus. It seemed that even though Yu Shen said he came from some remote wilderness, his family background was definitely not average. At least he was raised like a precious treasure. 198. Otherwise, this hand wouldn't be so smooth without a single callus from physical labor. Let's go. Now I'll take you into the military base to arrange your accommodation. Ah, that's right. When getting off the bus, I was so tired that I accidentally threw my suitcase in the middle of the road. If you have some free time, could you drive back and pick it up for me? Traveling thousands of miles to get all the way here and only carrying a single backpack just doesn't look right. So because of fatigue, he just threw his suitcase along the road. Taliang, drive along the patrol road our troops usually take and go straight to the bus stop located deep inside the desert. Look around along the way to see if there's any suitcase. Drop there. If you find it, bring it back. Understood. Regiment Commander Taliang quickly jumped onto the special military vehicle and drove straight deep into the desert. Song Qinghwan then led me back to the military base. The border post was located deep in the desert. From this spot back to the military base, we still had to travel quite a long distance. For the past few days, I had been traveling non-stop, so I was completely exhausted. As soon as I leaned against the passenger seat, I immediately relaxed my whole body. Traveling a long distance on bumpy roads made me fall asleep as soon as things quieted down. If we calculate the distance through the area over there, it really requires crossing an entire desert to reach this border sand dune. She mumbled to herself, and after a few minutes there was still no reply. She didn't even turn her head to look, only seeing my head tilted to one side, fast asleep. Seeing this, Song Qinghwan remained silent and instinctively stepped on the brakes to slow down a bit, trying to drive as smoothly as possible. Meanwhile, in another development, Taliang was driving, carefully searching along the road. He successfully found my suitcase, 242, and immediately drove back to our military base. Immediately drove back to our military compound. As soon as he arrived, he loudly told his comrades what he had seen and heard today. Word spread from 1 to 10 to 100, and in an instant the entire camp knew everything. That the regiment commander had a nominal husband who traveled all this way just to ask for a divorce. This drama was actually even better than the incident of the regiment commander being cheated on years ago. At 6 o'clock in the evening, The temperature began to drop gradually from 30 degrees during the day, plummeting without breaks to a mere 10 degrees. Even though it was summer, 255, the shivering cold felt like winter. The environment here, ignoring the shivering winter-like cold, the environment was indeed extremely harsh. The weather was as unpredictable as someone with a mental illness. Often, even though it was summer, people still had to pull out cotton-padded jackets to wear. Most people who came here from other places could not handle the temperature. Song Ching-hwan had already parked the car in the military zone, but I was still fast asleep. She took a look at me, thinking to herself, this guy who confidently claimed he would stay here for an entire month. I wonder if this pampered young master can survive it. Regiment Commander, why did you return so late? I've already cleaned up a sleeping place for my brother-in-law. I even carried all of his luggage over there. But when he excitedly ran closer, he realized, as it turned out, his nominal brother-in-law was fast asleep. Hearing the noise, I sleepily opened my eyes. Are we at the military base? Walking from here to there will take about 10 minutes. Be careful, or you'll freeze. Freeze, I had to admit. One thing, this nominal wife who fell from the sky was actually quite thoughtful. She even knew to bring a jacket for me to wear to keep warm. Thank you. Brother-in-law, I'm sorry I was too loud and woke you up. It's fine. I was just so tired from traveling that I fell asleep for a bit. I barely heard you say you found my suitcase. Where did you put it? In the bedroom? Yes, I just arranged a neat place for you, brother-in-law. There's an empty room in the guest building. You can stay there temporarily, for a while. If you find that place too run down and don't like it, tomorrow when you're free, feel free to apply to change to another room. Thank you so much. Sorry for troubling you. Ha ha ha. Give me the key. Go take care of your work first. Understood, boss. Then I'll take my leave first. I traveled to this world also. A long time ago, so long that sometimes I almost forgot about the parallel universe I used to live in. Brilliant civilization with advanced technology. In my past life from a young age, I was raised like a precious treasure, treated so gently. Honestly, if I think about it carefully, except for the pain of burying my head in studying other hardships, were things I never had to taste at all. Turns out I also knew how to strive. Thanks to that, I passed the exam to get into college in the capital, to save my family from breaking their backs. Supporting me, I even knew how to utilize my brain to work part-time and earn money to cover my expenses. Riding on the coattails of a super wealthy college classmate, I caught on to the trend early to invest in business, making a pretty decent fortune. I thought this life would be peaceful, riding high and smooth like that forever. Who would have thought that heaven would drag me into such a deep hole as this? Now I only hope to quickly get a divorce, so I can pack up and go home to enjoy my beautiful days. Yes, this nominal husband from a remote, unfamiliar place just wanted to get this over with and leave. Hearing me constantly letting out deep sighs, Song Ching-hwan was certain it was because I disliked this harsh environment, which made me feel frustrated and uncomfortable. But thinking about it carefully, she couldn't blame him. He was a bright college student with a promising future, fresh out of school only to find out he had his information stolen to get married. Even though this entire mess was just a harmless, ridiculous mistake from a legal standpoint, the damage was done. Now, if they wanted to go their separate ways and get rid of this husband and wife label, of course, they were bound to drag each other to divorce court. If in the future he wanted to find someone to marry, he would suddenly have to carry the label of a divorced man. 341 vertical bar. Thinking about it, come to think of it, Shin was indeed the one who suffered in every way. If you lack anything here, just tell me. I will try my best to arrange and take care of it for you. It's fine, it's only for a month anyway. All along the way inside, the people hanging around the guest building saw Song Ching-hwan leading a handsome, young man upstairs. None of them could hide their curiosity, poking their heads out to gossip and whisper back and forth. The face of every single woman there was filled with gossip. My room was arranged on the 3rd floor. While climbing the stairs, I still ran into a few kids, staring with their big, round, curious eyes. The hallway reeked of various cooking smells and smoke. Honestly, I absolutely hate having to squeeze into these communal-style apartment buildings that are as cramped as a dormitory. I prefer houses with private gardens, where the bathroom and toilet are completely private and clean, so I can enjoy using them myself. This room has just been cleaned up. The climate in this region is extremely unique. As soon as night falls, the temperature drops terribly. Regiment Commander Song, a middle-aged woman with a super gossipy face, approached, pressing for information. Actually, this whole neighborhood already knew that my purpose in coming here was to demand a divorce. Clearly, the rumor had already spread everywhere. The fact that Yushen came all this way to stay would sooner or later be gossiped about everywhere. The only issue now was how she should present her face to introduce Yushen's status. The relationship between me and Song Qinghwan at this moment was indeed extremely awkward. Aunt Zhang, he just arrived after a long journey and is exhausted. Let me take him to the room to rest first. Hey Qinghwan, don't rush to hide inside like that. You have to introduce him to me. This young man looks so bright and handsome. Who on earth are you to our regiment commander Song? Anyway, hello Aunt Zhang. I am the legal husband on paper of Song Qinghwan. As soon as I stepped into the room, Song Qinghwan also slipped in after me. On the bed, thick layer of blankets and mattress had been laid out all in a uniform military green. I was sure that kid Ta Liang had run over to my unit's dormitory and brought them over. Those are my blankets. You can use them temporarily. That kid Ta Liang took them out of my wardrobe, but I've washed them clean and they smell nice. 398. That's great. Thanks a million. This is awesome. 1,000 thanks to you. When I leave, I'll wash and dry them cleanly before returning them to you. Each floor also has a shared public water tap, while the bathroom is located way down on the first floor. At this hour, there should still be some food down in the cafeteria. If you like, I can lead you down there to eat, or I can just buy some and bring it back for you. Man, don't mention it, but now that you did, my stomach is already protesting and growling loudly. Let's walk down there and eat. At the same time, I can memorize the way. I can't just have you serve me and bring food up every day. Oh my God, the regiment commander's husband looks so stunning, but I heard he traveled all this way just to tear up the marriage certificate and get a divorce. He's naturally so handsome. So even if he carries the label of a divorced man, there will still be tons of girls lining up to snatch him as a husband. Do you think that shocking rumor from this morning is true? Well, him coming all the way here to demand a divorce can't be fake. He's a proper college student after all. For such a talented and handsome guy, he must be extremely capable. Even though he was tricked into this marriage, I still think the two of them standing next to each other makes a perfect match. Our regiment commander Song's family background is also quite influential in the capital. If this guy has a decent and stable job in terms of family background, he is second to none. Our regiment commander Song, other than being a bit cold and icy, is actually very kind and good-natured. Plus, she has such well-defined, gorgeous facial features. If she didn't have to endure the harsh weather in the military with that kind of beauty, she could easily stand out, but I have to admit, the two of them walking together looks extremely matching. How does that idiom go again? Right, a talented man and a beautiful woman. Right after leaving the guest building, we went straight toward the military base's cafeteria. Along the way, we mostly ran into soldiers. I glanced around at the soldiers, in military uniforms, bustling back and forth. The only problem was that walking with Song Qinghwan was a bit awkward, because of her rank as regiment commander. Every soldier passing by would stand at attention and salute, saluting left and right, which also made me to throw curious examining looks at me from head to toe. We finally reached the cafeteria of people waiting to get food. Scanning the food trays, I saw that the main dish was some yellow cornbread, accompanied by a meager serving of stir-fried potatoes and cabbage, along with 2 bowls of thin egg drop soup. Tonight, if you crave anything else, feel free to let me know. On my day off, I'll drive to the county market to buy it for you. Song Qinghwan was also originally from the capital. Her family background was extremely wealthy compared to the average. Since childhood, she never lacked any delicacies, but since coming to this remote border military base, she had deeply felt the harshness and scarcity of the environment here. However, coming from a military family and being raised in a military environment, she was tough and no longer felt shocked or complained about this kind of scene. Looked down at the sad aluminum food tray in front of me, then glanced around the cafeteria. I saw the soldiers holding cornbread and chewing veggies, eating happily as if they were eating delicacies. Well, that makes sense. They had been pushing themselves and training on the field all day long, completely draining their energy. With an empty stomach, of course anything would taste good. Unfortunately, I'm a southern boy to the core. Ever since I was a little kid, my main meals always had to include a bowl of white rice. Even though my family was dirt poor, my mother would frequently cook a hot pot of plain congee, accompanied by a plate of stir-fried celery or some pickled veggies steamed with rich chicken eggs and all that. So looking at this tray, I knew for sure that the food here wouldn't suit my taste at all. But probably because I had to struggle on the train and bus today and was exhausted. At this point, I was so hungry my eyes were getting blurry. Just try to swallow a little to warm your stomach. If you can't swallow it, you can leave it there. I can take it back home to have as a late-night snack. 450 obediently, which unfortunately caused quite a few people to avoid leaving my saliva on the rest and making it unhygienic. Leaving this much is enough to keep me full and warm. Song Ching-hwan took the food tray on the table and went to the water basin outside the cafeteria to brush her teeth. No need to help me, Little Song. Little Song. Beside her, a woman was following. Little Song, I heard. Someone from your family arrived, right? This must be your husband. This matter is a bit complicated, I'll explain later. Oh my! This young man looks so mature. Where are you from? Hello, Aunt. My name is Yu Shen. I'm from the South. A Southerner. No wonder people say the sweet Southern land nurtures people so well. It is indeed. Not wrong at all. Don't be shy. In the family quarters, there aren't many young people around. Whenever you two are free, just come over to our house. Go ahead with your sister-in-law. First, I have a few words to say to Little Song. Hearing this, I couldn't refuse either, so I had to let Brigade Commander He's wife leave first. About your business today, I've already asked the kids, who just returned from the guard post. How are you planning to handle this? Look at you, I watched you grow up since you were little. 2 years ago when you submitted the marriage report, you even told me not to worry. Who would have thought that in the blink of an eye it would turn into such a mess? Today I don't know who spread the word, but the entire military base knows about it. They say a man suddenly appeared in the desert, looking for you and even demanded a divorce? From you. It must be that loudmouth Taoliang. Actually, even if Taoliang didn't say it, others would have. It was only a matter of time before the news spread here. Say something. Why are you keeping silent without saying a word? Are you really planning on getting a divorce? Originally, the issue with Wu Yibai, cheating before, had already affected you quite a bit. If you add a divorce now, do you still want to be transferred back to the capital? Tomorrow I will submit the divorce report. No way. Can't you two try to get to know each other today in the restroom? Those kids told me all about it. Both families intended for you. And that young man to build up your feelings. He is a college student. Not knowing anything about the situation, he suddenly became the person who wants a divorce from me. Isn't that normal? He already said he'll stay here for a month and then leave. You blockhead! I don't know why you are so decisive when planning battle strategies, but now you've already met the young man. Do you have any thoughts of your own? If you do, you should seize the opportunity. I think this young man is quite good. He has a degree. Later on we can arrange a job for him as well. Actually, back then I got married, just because I reached the age. The reason was also a coincidence, just happening to be when my family introduced the grandson of my grandfather's comrade in arms last month. I was also too lazy to search completely, relying on my family's arrangement, so I agreed, but I had never met that person. By the time of Wu Yibai, I was already cheated on. Normally my duties are very heavy. Most of my time is spent on training otherwise. I'm on missions after Wu Yibai cheated. I temporarily hadn't thought about finding anyone. Now on the marriage certificate, a real registered husband suddenly popped out. It left me a bit flustered because this real husband seems to be a decent person. He also made it clear to me that he wants a divorce and doesn't accept an arranged marriage. I'll just submit the divorce report first. By the time it gets approved, there's still some time. Meanwhile, on my side at this moment, I was completely unaware of the conversation between the brigade commander and my nominal wife. I was dragged to the brigade commander's house. The family members living in the surrounding row houses all gathered to watch the excitement. One by one, they came over to ask questions. It felt exactly like being surrounded by relatives for a blind date match during the new year, just like a household registration interrogation. Here, she said, you walked from the desert. You must have gotten off the wrong bus. Fortunately, no accident happened. That middle of nowhere place is dangerous. What would you have done if something happened? Is that so? Could it be because I got off the wrong bus? It's all my fault for being in too much of a hurry and not asking clearly. It seems that old man driving the ox cart didn't lie to me after all. At that time, I actually thought I had been scammed. Turns out it was my own mistake. But how did you all know that I had just arrived? This place is as tiny as a nostril. If there's even a tiny breeze, the news spreads everywhere instantly. I consider this an eye-opening experience regarding the power of the gossip club. It spreads even faster than the internet. I heard you are also a college student from the capital. What major did you study? Medicine? Studying medicine is great. You won't starve anywhere. Plus, you're a college student, and Song Ching-hwan is a regiment commander. Your job in the military family quarters can easily be arranged by the brigade commander. After all, you are a genuine, certified talent. Yes, studying medicine is very good. In the future, when you two live together, you will definitely be extremely happy. I came here to get a divorce, a real divorce. Are you really going to travel all this long, arduous way just to get a divorce? Young man, are you sure you want a divorce? If I wasn't sure, what would I have come here for? Even though this nominal wife is quite beautiful and really knows how to take care of others, that doesn't mean I have to stay. Oh, you are still too young. This might just be fate. Arranged by heaven, you know. You two should try living together first. What do you have to lose? How long do you plan to stay here? 1 month is enough. I'm not exaggerating. But Regiment Commander Song's qualities are extremely good. Even if you look across 10 miles, you won't find another girl as good as her. Moreover, how old is she? She has already reached the position of regiment commander. It's all thanks to her sharp, smart brain and risking her life to earn it. There's a very good saying, fate brings people together from 1,000 miles away. Maybe this is indeed the fate of you two. These older people really love to say things like this. I could only force a smile, not knowing how to answer properly. Regiment Commander Song is here. There has never been a moment where I looked forward to the appearance of my nominal wife as much as now. I was truly talked into a corner by these aunties. Sister-in-law, hello aunties, I came to pick him up. It's getting late. The hot water in the downstairs bathroom is about to run out. It's very late already, so we'll excuse ourselves. You aunties should also rest. Early. All right, it's dark, so I won't disturb you two anymore. Tomorrow, remember to come over to my place for dinner. I cook very well. How could we trouble you, sister-in-law? No trouble. No trouble at all. I genuinely like you. My 2 kids are both away working and rarely come home. The house is very quiet and lonely, so I just love chatting with young people. You must come over for dinner tomorrow. Since you put it that way, Aunt, then tomorrow I'll have to shamelessly come over to sponge a meal. I just hope you won't laugh at me. This area was the single-story housing section of the military family quarters about 500 meters away from the dormitory building. Arriving at the bottom of the dormitory building, I could still hear the noisy sounds coming from inside. There were adults scolding kids and children crying. The sounds from each household echoed. Song Xinghuan walked me all the way to my floor. I'll head back first. If you need anything, just tell me tomorrow. The hot water downstairs runs out at 9. If you want a shower, go a bit early. Got it. Today during the day I had walked for a long time in the desert, getting completely drenched in sweat. At night the temperature started to drop. So I pulled a set of clean clothes from my suitcase to change into, carried the basin and walked straight downstairs. Along the way there was no shortage of people passing by, but the number of people going to the bathroom seemed much smaller. After all, everyone had already finished showering. Is even better. No people is even better. How long has it been since I didn't have to hesitate, standing in front of others? Thinking back to when I was studying in the capital after making a little money, I immediately moved out of the dorm to rent a place. Outside, the type with a private bathroom inside. The room was clean and neat, and I had my own private space, which was honestly so satisfying. I was a medical student. Usually when I was free, I only liked researching, sunscreen, and massaging oil for treating sprains and bruises. I was handsome and friendly, easy to get along with. Back in the capital, when people praised my good skin, I would go on and on to them about the importance of sun protection. When someone fell and got scraped up on their hands or legs, I'd tell them to try my massaging oil, telling others how effective my massaging oil was. Thus word spread from 1 to into 100, and many people sought me out to buy sunscreen and massaging oil. I made a pretty decent amount of money. I sluggishly walked to the bathroom and saw a few people coming out from inside. These soldiers, who were complete strangers, still greeted me very enthusiastically. Hey, young man, you should hurry up a bit. Otherwise there won't be any hot water left, and you'll freeze and catch a cold. I got it, thank you guys. This new target of Regiment Commander Song looks absolutely flawless, ha 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 ha. I silently quickened my pace, thinking to myself that I still had to figure out a way to fetch some hot water and just shower right in my room to get it over with. Boiling water and carrying it was a bit troublesome. It seemed there was no large bathhouse here, and there was no hot water either. Tomorrow, I must talk to my nominal wife about this. When I stepped into the bathroom, probably because I arrived a bit late, there was no longer anyone inside. Deep down, I urged myself on, using the fastest speed to wash up cleanly, and then rushed straight back to my room, lying on the bed to rest for a bit, and ended up falling fast asleep without even realizing it. The clanking and clattering sound of washing pots and dishes, and the sound of scolding kids, mixed with the whimpering, crying sounds of the little ones. This place naturally had no soundproofing, so early in the morning I was woken up like this. When I struggled to sit up from the bed, my head was still in a daze. My wristwatch was placed at the head of the bed. I picked it up to take a look. 760. It was only 7:30 a.m. Damn it, why so early? It's only 7:30 in the morning. Good grief, why so early? I lay back down, pulling the blanket over my head, trying to ignore the noisy sounds from outside to continue sleeping in. I slept all the way until 1 p.m. before slowly waking up. As soon as I opened the door, I saw the woman standing outside holding two carefully packed lunchboxes, in her hand standing right there with a cold gaze. Song Qinghuan's face always carried a sense of aloofness, like a stranger keeping their distance, so people who didn't know her well would truly feel a bit intimidated when interacting with her. But when Song Qinghuan saw me at this moment, her delicate, exquisite little face probably blushed red in an instant. She then turned away and asked, "You haven't eaten anything this morning, right?" I leaned slightly to one side, gesturing for her to come in. "I just woke up. Let me go out to brush my teeth first." I stepped out of the door, walking toward the water basin outside the restroom in the hallway. Having no restroom in the room was indeed inconvenient. For instance, at this moment, every household was preparing lunch. Outside the door, there suddenly appeared someone in pajamas holding a toothbrush and walking along the hallway. Naturally, this attracted everyone's attention. Until my figure stopped by the water basin. He indeed lives up to the reputation of someone from the capital. Those pajamas of his look expensive at first glance. The fabric looks so smooth and glossy. I think the quality of his slippers is also very good. They are completely different from ours, so clean and shiny. In my opinion, this man's divorce with Regiment Commander Song is a good thing. At first glance, you can tell this young man is lazy. He didn't even bother to get up until late morning, and on top of that, he made Regiment Commander Song bring food right to him. No doubt about it, his appearance looks decent and proper. But waking up at noon and needing someone to serve food right to his mouth, that's exactly the style of a pampered capitalist young master. How could he possibly be worthy of Regiment Commander Song? Come on, what do you mean, capitalist young master? He is of genuine rural origin, with a clean family background and solid character. How on earth do you know that so well? Yesterday, those who went to Li Hongmai's house to watch the drama said that even though his family is poor, for 3 generations they only had girls. An entire big family, full of girls. And finally, they got just one precious boy to carry on the family name. Since childhood, he was very good at studying, and he even passed the exam to get into college. That entire village only produced one college student like him, so him not knowing how to do chores is completely normal. What's the use of studying well? Being able to make lots of money is what shows true capability. Even though I knew these people would talk behind my back, I didn't really care. After all, I'll slip away in a month. One in the south, one in the north. In the future, it's highly unlikely we'll ever cross paths again. On the way back, when someone in the hallway greeted me, I'd still respond with a bright smile and return a friendly greeting. When I opened the door and stepped inside, I saw her already sitting and waiting by the window of the small living room. The lunchboxes on the table hadn't been opened yet. Indeed, someone with good looks can create a beautiful, soul-stirring scene just by sitting still. You could have eaten first without waiting for me. This man is really handsome. I already ate. These 2 portions are both for you. This is corn noodles with minced meat, and this is a plain steamed bun. I didn't know what you like to eat, so I bought a bit extra and brought it over. To be completely honest, this woman, up until this point, except for that slightly unpleasant first meeting, has been very generous and proper, in all her other actions taking great care of me. 859. A thought suddenly flashed in my mind. A thought suddenly flashed through my mind. That blindly obsessed fool Wu Yibai just had to fall for that female, educated youth sent down to the countryside. If the 2 of them had a mutual, genuine love, I wouldn't even bother to complain. But the catch is that female youth, just because she didn't want to endure hardships, deliberately seduced the village secretary's son, so he would secretly sneak food from his home to supply her. If that was all, it would be fine, but they were already married, and she still kept seducing him. When her belly was knocked up, she didn't hesitate to frame someone else. Driven into a corner, she dragged Wu Yibai along to jump into the river to commit suicide. I seriously can't understand it. Why were the youth of this era so easily tricked? If Wu Yibai hadn't done such a scandalous thing and had willingly lived his days with Song Qinghuan, his future probably wouldn't have turned out so bad. This is too much. I can't finish it all. You should also eat some, otherwise throwing it away would be a waste. 883. Is this much enough to keep you full? Probably. Is this enough for you to eat your fill? Probably. Mainly, I don't really like eating flour-based food. Could anyone understand this struggle of mine? If it were white rice with stir-fried dishes, I could easily polish off 2 large bowls. Then I'll eat another half of the plain steamed bun. Yushen's eating manner looks so elegant. It's completely different from the rough men in the military. Originally, my eating speed wasn't considered slow. but mostly when facing food I have absolutely no interest in. The speed naturally slows down a lot. Let me wash them for you. Is there anything else you're lacking here so I can purchase it for you? Since he traveled all this way, she should show him the bit more care and concern. I felt a little awkward and embarrassed, but I didn't stubbornly try to snatch the job of washing dishes. I am absolutely not the type who loves fighting over chores. Okay. Since someone is willing to help, I am more than happy to enjoy it. After all, when it comes to this, my skin is considered quite thick. I'm not really used to taking showers at the public bathhouse. There are too many people. I want to boil hot water myself and shower. Right in my room. I need a bathtub, and also a pot that can boil hot water. Right, I don't even have a stove either. I really didn't expect it to be this troublesome. Could it be that I actually have to light the stove myself too when I was renting a room in the capital? Everything was already done using gas tanks. Yet when I arrived here, I found out everyone uses honeycomb charcoal. Stoves, I'm too lazy to deal with those things, mostly because I don't know how to do it. And of course, I don't have any intention to learn. I can fetch a stove and bring it over for you. To think there's actually someone who isn't used to public bathhouses. But right now, I really miss the rented room I had back in the capital. The room was small, but had everything. Over there, I didn't even have to wash my own clothes. While in the capital, I made a bit of money. Aside from eating and drinking my fill and saving a fixed amount, I used all the remaining money to enjoy life. I really miss those beautiful days so much. Oh my God, should I just run away first? Even if I have to go back home and do nothing, my elderly parents will still praise me as someone who knows how to enjoy life. It was so hard to finally graduate from medical school. I just want to get a really, truly decent rest. I don't want to suffer for another single day. Has your divorce report been submitted yet? I submitted it this morning. It will probably take some time to get the result. That's fine. As long as the divorce report goes through, everything will be fine. Originally, the conditions here couldn't compare to the capital, nor is it as free and comfortable as being at home, but I can endure it. I can do it. I absolutely have no problem. My adaptability is very strong. Actually, I have a suggestion. I'd like to share it. Go ahead. The divorce report should take about 10 days to get approved right. Once it's approved, I'll leave right away. Even though in the beginning I only planned to stay for a month to make it easier to explain. To my family, letting them feel like I came here, wanting to seriously build up feelings with you. But now I think leaving a bit early is fine too. In the future, if your family asks, just say I stayed here for a full month. Seriously got to know each other for a month. And in the end, we were truly incompatible. Please help me cover it up a bit, because I'm afraid if my family contacts yours, they will find out and scold me. This kid is even too lazy to stay for a month. I don't know why, but after hearing this, it felt like her mood wasn't very good. Oh well, she is a regiment commander, soldier. And besides, those aunties said she lives very uprightly, probably. This nominal wife I suddenly got disdains lying. I can't force her. As the saying goes, an extra friend is an extra path. There's no need to argue over this small matter. Once the divorce report is approved, you can leave. If my family asks, I won't lie, incompatible means incompatible. 987. No need to force things for a whole month. In what way? We don't need to build our relationship for a whole month, do we? Are we incompatible? It's just this kid who unilaterally thinks we aren't compatible. I don't see anything incompatible at all. Up until this point, everything about him seems normal. Except for eating a bit slowly and acting a bit too meticulously, there's really nothing incompatible. If he doesn't want to do chores, I can do them. How could I know what she is thinking in her head? Just now after hearing those words, yeah, by the time I leave. If your family asks, just say we are incompatible. No need to try and build up feelings. Our parents can't exactly force us, either. After I said these words, my whole mood suddenly became incredibly bright. It's coming, my freedom is coming soon. I'll go back to my hometown for 11 months, then head to the capital. Sunscreen and massaging oil are so easy to sell. When the time comes, I'll research some new products and make a fortune again. After that, I can slowly consider whether to work at a hospital in the capital or not. Ultimately, it is a bit far from home, but if I can accumulate some days off and go home once every 2 months, it's not impossible. In just a short moment, I had already fully planned out my future. I had thought about everything, except for marriage. That was something I never considered. I am a person carrying memories of 2 lifetimes. In my previous life, the divorce rate was even higher than the marriage rate, with tons of people regretting it. Back then, I was still young, having just graduated from college, only in my early 20s, and had never thought about this. After being isekai'd, I was busy studying, so I thought even less about dating. At school, I didn't lack admirers, but women would only affect my studies, affect the speed of me getting scholarships, and slow down my progress toward living a comfortable life. Time is money, and I must prioritize making money. In the evening, Lee Hongmai came over to invite me directly to her house for dinner, which made me feel a bit embarrassed. Fortunately, in my suitcase, I had brought some delicious chocolate. In this world, chocolate is a very premium snack. The price is expensive, and the distribution channels are scarce, especially this imported Soviet chocolate of mine, which was all given to me by a rich second-generation friend in the capital. Because I often dabbled in formulating massaging oils. After his old man used it, his years of old injuries improved a lot. Thus, the two of us became friends. This guy had quite a few rare items from abroad who told his family to be so rich. Thanks to him, I got to experience quite a few rare foods of this era. Sometimes he gave me so much that I even sent some back to my family. This time coming here, the imported chocolate I brought wasn't much, but gathered together it was about half a small bag. What is this, young man? Sister-in-law, this is imported chocolate. A friend of mine gave it to me. I came here in such a rush that I didn't bring any valuable gifts. I brought a little for you to try. I find the taste is very delicious. Where on earth can one easily find rare things like imported chocolate? You spent too much. This is too expensive. I only called you over for a meal, yet you brought such a valuable item. How can I accept this? Don't be polite. There's no rule that says a guest should come empty-handed. I'm not so thick-skinned as to just come and sponge a meal, sister-in-law. This is just some snacks. If you don't accept it, I'm going back. All right, then, I won't be polite with you anymore. Tonight you must eat a lot. Coincidentally, a few other family members are coming over, and my husband also invited a few people. Everyone will have a meal together to get to know one another. This husband and wife hadn't discussed it beforehand, but their thoughts were extremely in sync. They wanted to play matchmaker for the two young people. So the people coming over for dinner were all close contacts, including the battalion commander, the vice battalion commander, and the vice regiment commander. Usually everyone got along quite harmoniously. The men went outside to eat, drink booze, and chat, while the women gathered here. While gossiping, they would naturally pitch in and say a few good words about Regiment Commander Song. The sisters-in-law sitting here numbered 4 in total, and they also brought their kids. Every child was raised plump and chubby, making people unable to resist teasing them. The table was full of hearty main dishes. At a glance, it was obvious they spent a lot of money. A huge plate of chicken, stewed potatoes with glass noodles, stewed fish, stir-fried wood, ear mushrooms with pork, pickled vegetables, stir-fried with smoked meat, and egg drop soup. But the main staple was still grain pancakes, along with giant cornmeal buns. All of them were piled high in a large basin. This spread of food, there were a few dishes brought over by the guests. This era is like that. If someone invites you for dinner, the guests will also help the host by bringing some delicious food to contribute to the table. I'm not an idiot, so of course I can see through it. These people are trying to play matchmaker between me and Song Qinghwan. But originally I was very resentful about this marriage. Minding my own business, studying in college, I was forced into marriage. Fortunately, the other party is someone easy to talk to. If I had met someone stubborn and unreasonable, I probably would have died of frustration. So facing this dinner, I still smiled and chatted to get through it, occasionally teasing the kid to hear its giggling. At this moment in the yard of the superior's house, several women were busy setting the table. Seeing everyone busy, I thought to myself that I couldn't just sit idle, so I prepared to go over and lend a hand but was stopped. Just sit here and help us watch the kid. We're almost done here. Saying that, the sister-in-law placed the chubby baby in my arms. The baby, just a few months old, was staring at me with wide, round eyes. I don't really like bratty kids, but this little one who couldn't talk yet and hadn't even grown teeth didn't bother me. Then I won't be polite. I sat in the yard holding and teasing the baby. As for Song Qinghwan, who was dragged over here for dinner, the moment she stepped into the yard, she saw this exact scene. Yushin, wearing a gray tracksuit, was sitting there wearing a pair of clean-washed, white canvas shoes. He held the baby looking down and smiling at it, looking extremely gentle. Ta Luong and several officers following behind Song Qinghwan stepped in. Seeing me, everyone's eyes widened. The entire military district had been gossiping about Regiment Commander Song bringing her partner to the cafeteria. The rumors spread from 1 to 10 to 100, saying the male college student who came to the military district for a divorce was extremely handsome, hyping him up to the point where no one on earth could compare. Today they got to see it with their own eyes. It was truly an eye-opening experience in this barren land. In a world that was entirely a dull gray, where the barracks were full of rough, burly men, there suddenly appeared an elegant, scholarly, handsome guy like this. How could it not make people's eyes light up? You're all here just in time. The food was just served. I've brought out all the good wine hidden in the house. Hurry over and sit down. Ha ha ha, old man, hurry up and welcome the guests. Let me introduce you. This is Yu Shen. Hello, brother-in-law. I stood up holding the baby, smiling charmingly. Calling him brother-in-law wasn't wrong, for now we weren't divorced yet. Hello, everyone? The bathtub you need as well as the pot to boil hot water and the stove. I'll find someone to bring them over for you later. Okay, thank you. Ah, Shen, your skin looks really good. So fair and smooth. Probably because I usually use sunscreen. The air in our border region is dry, and everyone usually has to expose themselves to the elements. No wonder I said you looked different. I didn't expect there was such a reason. Is that sunscreen you mentioned expensive? It's pretty average. I figured out how to make it myself when I was in college. I bought some ingredients and formulated it myself so it didn't cost much. When I was free, I also researched massaging oil, which is quite effective for bruises and sprains. Once I go back, I'll send some from home for everyone to try. This time I was in a rush, so I didn't bring any with me. Then there's no need, I was just asking. Making it yourself must take a lot of time. By the way, now that you've graduated, have you found a job yet? I heard our military district hospital is also short of doctors. How about I have my husband introduce you? Li Hongmai had already started planning to keep him here. I appreciate it, but I just graduated. If I want to find a job, my professors at school will introduce me. Besides, I want to rest for a month or two first. Studying in college for so long, I feel like I've overexerted my brain. It's not just regular exhaustion. If it weren't for the scholarship, I would have really just wanted to lie around. I really just want to lie around. Over the past few years, being less naturally talented in medicine than my peers, I usually had to put in 3 to 4 times the time and effort just to squeeze into the competitive ranks. It was exhausting. The professors at school even thought I was genuinely passionate about medicine. Every time they looked at me, their eyes were full of pride. But I couldn't just tell them that I studied for the money, right? I couldn't let them know that doing so would waive half of my tuition, could I? The professors at school all praised me for being diligent, dedicated, passionate, hardworking, and putting in the effort. I was truly the textbook definition of an outstanding rising star. It was indeed a very beautiful misunderstanding. How can you think like that? When looking for a job, you should still be a bit careful. If you want to find one, you must find it quickly. What if the good positions get taken by others? Wouldn't that be a huge loss? Working at the military hospital is pretty good. Our border region even has extra subsidies. My mindset was completely different from these people. What is there to rush about when finding a job? Right now, I don't lack spending money at all. Just that sunscreen and massaging oil alone are still selling steadily. Before returning home, I made a new batch and entrusted it to that rich second-generation friend in the capital to help sell it. Over the past 4 or 5 years, I've saved up over 10,000 yuan. I'm a genuine 10,000 yuan household. 10,000 yuan in this era is already a huge fortune. During this period, everyone's salary is only a few dozen yuan. At this point, seeing me spacing out someone, spoke up, "Our regiment commander Song is a good person. If you young couple live together, your life will definitely be wealthy and comfortable, working directly at..." The military hospital is also very good, by the way. Does your family have any thoughts or plans regarding your job? My family doesn't really have any strong opinions about it. Whatever I do, they will fully support it. My mom even said to take advantage of this jobless period and rest up for a while longer because once I start working, I won't have many days off left. This statement could be considered an eye-opener for everyone. In this day and age, every household is struggling. Having a college student in the family is understandably a source of pride, but once they graduate, prioritizing job placement is a must. Having a stable job is the most important thing, right? How could his family say something like, "Just rest up"? No wonder he's the only grandson in the entire family, which is why they raised such a fragile kid like this. Forcing this young man to stay in the border region long term, isn't that dragging him down to suffer? Military marriages are already very tough. Living in the family quarters and expecting a man like him to manage the household. What if Regiment Commander Song has to go on a mission for 10 days or half a month before returning, and that's considered short? There are times when she goes on a mission and is gone for half a year, or even a whole year. What if they have a child, expecting a man to stay home and babysit, with countless trivial chores to boot? Could this young man really endure it? Besides, this guy looks like he can't handle hardships at all. Forcing them together like this, isn't that just harming him? I didn't expect your family to be so open-minded. That's really nice. Look at your hands. At first glance, they are clearly the hands of someone who holds a pen. A flash of surprise and joy crossed my mind. The opportunity has come. If I play along with that statement right now, claiming I don't know how to do anything, then not only will these aunties feel I'm unsuitable, but perhaps Song Ching-Huan will also be more resolved about the divorce. Having planned everything out, I didn't bother keeping up appearances for this dinner anymore. I'm not afraid of everyone laughing at me. But from childhood to adulthood, my parents never let me lift a finger to do chores. 1291. If I so much as sweep the floor or wash a dish, my parents will scold my older sisters for not taking good care of me. I don't know how to cook either. And I don't even know how to wash my own clothes. 1296. When I was in college, I rented a place outside, and they always hired the aunt next door to help clean the house. I always hired the auntie next door to come over and help clean the house. I really don't know how to do any chores. In my previous life, there were all kinds of home appliances and even smart home systems. Who on earth would do chores manually, right? Even the men who were drinking at the time also had to go quiet. If they hadn't heard that for 3 generations, his family were all genuine farmers, and that he was a young man from a remote, poor countryside, hearing him talk like that would make people mistake him for some young master of a capitalist family, going to school and even being able to hire someone to help with chores. 1310. The women, having their meal, were all looking at Song, who were eating were all looking at Song Qinghuan, with rather strange expressions. What an unlucky person. Her first husband cheated, leaving her with a green hat on her head. It was hard enough for her to finally get through that disaster, only to meet this kind of young master. 1317. Who doesn't know how to do anything? If this guy insists on not knowing how to do anything, this guy kept insisting on demanding a divorce, making him stay in the border region long term. Would just be bringing trouble upon herself, wouldn't it? Everyone's expressions change. I was extremely satisfied. Let's see if you people still want to play matchmaker. Now that you're satisfied, just quietly eat your food. Li Hongmai was the first to react, turning toward me with an embarrassed smile. Everyone don't just sit there. Eat quickly, otherwise the food will get cold in a bit. After finishing the meal, I chatted a bit with the men. By the time we dispersed, it was already around 8 p.m. Song Qinghuan walked slowly next to me. The two of us didn't say a word along the way, and the air carried a hint of awkwardness. I glanced at the woman in military uniform walking beside me. She exuded a cold, unapproachable aura. This wife of mine who fell from the sky really has a strong presence. She definitely lives up to her title of regiment commander. I'm sorry. The dinner today was something they arranged on their own. 1341. The leadership often cares about their subordinates, and those sisters-in-law are also often caring about her subordinates. The sisters-in-law also very enthusiastic, which must have put you in a tough spot. Song Qinghuan's tone sounded rather flat, lacking any warmth, but I could still sense her apologetic meaning. I didn't expect this woman to apologize to me. It's fine, I can understand them. They don't know about our situation, so they only meant well. Besides, it's not a big deal. Today's dinner was very pleasant. Song Qinghuan couldn't see how I was pleased, although when Yushen spoke, he didn't show too much emotion. Nor did he act like a snobbish, arrogant young master who looked down on others. He was definitely lying. Even during the meal, he didn't show his true feelings. But looking closely at Yushen, he was eating pretty eagerly, only he barely touched the main staples, like the baked pies or steamed buns. The food I brought over these past 2 days probably wasn't because he couldn't finish it, but perhaps because it wasn't to his taste. Yet he didn't complain at all, just quietly ate. He didn't show any dissatisfaction. He was probably being considerate of my feelings. Song Qinghuan thought for a moment and found that I actually had quite a few merits. Go back to the dormitory first. I'll have someone bring the things over to you in a bit. Song Qinghuan paused for a moment. I'll help you light it. Just remember to change the honeycomb coal. Be careful not to let the fire go out. Do you know how to change the honeycomb coal? I really don't know how to do chores, but that doesn't mean I lack common sense. Even if I haven't eaten pork, I've at least seen a pig run right. If I didn't even know how to change a honeycomb coal, that would be a bit too much. I smiled and replied, Of course I do. Regiment Commander Song must be joking. A 3-year-old child knows how to do this. The corners of Song Qinghuan's mouth curved up slightly, carrying a bit of playfulness. Then you light it yourself. Just kidding, let me do it for you. The clothes you need to wash. These days, try to wash them yourself. If it's too difficult, I'll call the aunties to help. Oh God, please don't. I can wash them myself. Just let me do it. They aren't that dirty anyway. A quick wash will do. Don't ask anyone to help. I still need to keep some face. Besides, they aren't people I hired with my own money. So how could I have the nerve to ask those aunties to wash my clothes? Moreover, what's so hard about doing laundry? Isn't it just a matter of tossing them in a basin to soak for a bit, scrubbing them a few times, rinsing off the soap suds, and then wringing them dry to hang up? Too easy. I leisurely walked back to the building in the family quarters. I felt a bit itchy everywhere I went. People were staring at me. Those gossipy stares actually gave me goosebumps. I glanced up at the sky, then took my basin of clothes down to the public bathhouse to wash up. About half an hour later, I slowly walked back carrying the basin. In the basin were the clothes I had just scrubbed. When I went up to the third floor, I saw Song Ching-hwan at the door lighting the stove for me. I froze for a moment, then went inside to hang up my clothes first. After that, I walked out and stood at the door watching Song Ching-hwan direct someone else to work. Several residents living along the third-floor corridor occasionally turned their heads to look at Regiment Commander Song. "You're so thoughtful. He's a college student, belonging to the intellectual class that holds pens. A young master. From a wealthy family, how could he do this heavy chore? Stop talking nonsense. Yu Shen's background is totally respectable. He's a real farmer's son. He was just busy with his studies, not like your Tai-Dan at home, who ranks dead last in every exam. And his clothes are always either covered in snot or smeared with mud." What kind of way is that to talk? If you feel so bad for my Tai-Dan, how about I let him stay at your house for a few days? Oh, please. You old hag, did I say anything wrong? Who doesn't know? Your Tai-Dan is always out there, causing trouble and chasing chickens. The moment school is over, he runs around the yard like crazy. His whole body is always filthy. Last time after the exam during the parent-teacher meeting, the moment you stepped out of the school gate, you wanted to beat him. He was crying and screaming all the way home. Anyone could tell he did poorly on his exam again. Aren't you afraid the neighbors will laugh their heads off? Ha ha ha! Seeing the two of them about to have a massive fight, I stood there a bit dazed. All right, stop arguing. You're both at this age, yet you still bicker all day long. What time is it anyway if you're that bored? Go back to your rooms and sleep. I gently rubbed my nose, feeling a bit awkward, and looked at Song Ching-hwan. She seemed completely unfazed by their loud bickering. Not a single ripple of emotion on her face. It's done. Remember to change the honeycomb coal. Ah, thank you. Sorry to have troubled you so much. Fortunately, I won't have to trouble you for too long. Otherwise, as a man, I'd be pretty embarrassed. Song Ching-hwan, on the contrary, didn't mind at all. She just nodded slightly and turned to leave. I closed the door and took a deep breath. I'm still not used to this unfamiliar environment. It's truly so suffocating. I stretched my arms, let out a long sigh, and then swung my legs, kicking my slippers off messily. With one here and one there on the floor, I flopped onto the bed, happily snug under the blanket. On my third day, in the family quarters early in the morning, I was woken up by a loud clattering noise outside. It was the sound of adults scolding kids and neighbors greeting each other as they passed by. All of it flooded into my brain. It was so incredibly noisy, making me feel like I was in the middle of a busy market. Just as I was half asleep planning to roll over and snooze some more, there was a knock on the door. I let out a massive yawn, half opened my eyes, and dragged my slippers to open the door. Outside stood Song Ching-hwan in full military uniform, holding breakfast. I forced open my sleep-deprived eyes, mumbling a groggy morning, and immediately turned back, toward the bed. The door was left wide open, as I didn't even bother to close it, and crawled straight into bed to go back to sleep. Song Ching-hwan, holding the lunchbox, stood frozen at the door for a moment. Yesterday when I dropped by, Yu Shen also slept straight through until noon. It seems this breakfast was a bit unnecessary. But since I already went through the trouble of bringing it, I might as well bring it in. As she walked past his room, she glanced inside and saw his suitcase, lying wide open on the floor. The clothes inside were piled up in a messy, disorganized heap, and some were even scattered all over, plus a few random bottles and jars. This suitcase of belongings is truly a mess. This was the first thought that flashed through her mind. Next, she saw the slippers scattered around, one here and one there. She walked straight into the bedroom, picked up the two slippers, and neatly placed them by the edge of the bed. Yu Shen is really carefree. He didn't even close the door and was already sleeping like a log. Someone is still standing here looking through the door after all. He really makes people worry. I left breakfast on the table in the living room. When you wake up, remember to heat it up before eating. Or you can just wait until noon and I'll bring lunch over as well. 1516. Her clear, cold voice echoed her voice rang out clear and cold incredibly, distinctly in this empty room. After waiting for a long time without hearing any response from me, she massaged her temples with her hand and mumbled, "Forget it. Why bother with someone fast asleep? He basically can't hear anything anyway." She didn't stay any longer and prepared to leave. As she walked out the door, she was thoughtful enough to change the honeycomb coal for me. At this time, the sun had just risen. Let me tell you, This morning when I took the kids to school, I gossiped with the sisters for a bit. Don't just look at that husband of hers coming from some middle-of-nowhere place. When he was studying at the university in the capital, his family went out of their way to rent a whole house outside for him, and they even hired a nanny to serve him. Are you for real? No wonder for a man. His skin looks so tender and smooth. As fair as a girl's. With this style, isn't he like a capitalist young master? To even hire someone to do chores? A nanny costs a lot of money. Exactly. I heard he doesn't know how to cook, and he doesn't even know how to do laundry. His family was worried sick that he couldn't take proper care of himself. He only has older sisters, so he is the only precious son. They pampered like a treasure. Plus, he got into college, so no wonder he's treated like an ancestor. Sigh I. Was wondering why Regiment Commander Song brings him food every day. Turns out, she already knew this kid is completely useless at chores. If she didn't bring food over, he would probably starve to death. Ha ha ha, you make it sound so hilarious. Ha ha ha. That's not it. Last night when I came back from washing up at the public bathhouse, I personally saw him sitting there, washing clothes by the water sink. What the heck do you know? Yesterday when I went to wash clothes, I struck up a conversation with him that can barely be called washing clothes. He poured a whole bunch of detergent making the foam overflow, and before rinsing it clean, he hastily wrung it out. What a waste. Coming here there is no nanny following him around to serve him anymore. So shouldn't he try to do it with his own hands? There's a reason why the two of them want a divorce. This is indeed the first time in my life I've seen this kind of country youth. Aren't other people's boys already helping out in the fields at 5 or 6 years old? Who on earth is like that? Young master, he's in college and still needs to hire someone to look after him. Just look at those hands. At first glance you'd know. He's only used to holding a pen. Worlds apart from us mud-covered folks. But then again, he's admittedly very handsome. So easy on the eyes. But can good looks be eaten? He doesn't know how to do anything. 1,585. Can't help with a damn thing. So if you ask me, divorcing at all. So if you ask me, this marriage should end in divorce is the best way to get rid of the burden. When Regiment Commander Song gets called away on a mission for a couple of weeks and doesn't show her face at home by the time she returns, the house will probably be so messy that there won't even be a place to step. That young man is incredibly handsome, though. Just looking at him makes one's heart flutter. Too bad that other than being a pretty face, he's completely useless. And just like that, the rumors about me got the chance to spread. After going through various versions, they became completely ridiculous. Yet the person in question me was still drifting in a beautiful dream. By the time I woke up, the clock already pointed to past 11 a.m. As usual, I lazily carried my water basin with my personal items tucked in, heading slowly to the public bathhouse to brush my teeth and wash my face. As I passed by a few groups of people, their eyes on me seemed to be even stranger. However, I was too lazy to think deeply about it. Facing those staring eyes, I just smiled, nodded, and said hello. In the end, what on earth were they staring at me for? It was really weird. Fortunately, I have a thick skin and don't have social anxiety. Otherwise, my face would have been full of holes. After finishing washing up and returning to my room, seeing the breakfast just sitting on the table, I froze. Wait a minute. This morning, Song Ching-hwan had dropped by here. I slapped my own forehead with my slipper. Oh my God, what kind of ridiculous thing did I just do? Lord, oh Lord. I left her standing outside the door to go back to sleep. If it weren't for this breakfast sitting on the table, I probably would have let that incident slip into oblivion. I walked over and opened the lunchbox to check. Oh, today's breakfast is porridge. However, it seems to be corn grit porridge. Inside there seemed to be a mix of other coarse grains as well. Next to it was a packet of pickled radish, and also steamed buns. It has been steamed buns for 3 whole days. Every single meal is just plain flour. If I have to chew on more steamed buns, I'll probably turn into a steamed bun myself. Staring at the breakfast on the table, I felt a gnawing hunger, but this wasn't physical hunger. Rather, my stomach and my taste buds were currently feeling extremely empty. After hesitating for a bit, I finally decided to just bite the bullet and skip eating. No need to rush. Today, Song Ching-hwan seemed very busy with work. Both lunch and dinner came and went, and there was no sign of her showing up. I was a bit surprised, though. I thought to myself that her bringing me food was just out of charity, so if she stopped bringing it, she wasn't to blame. For the past few days, I've been freeloading and taking afternoon naps in this place, which is already taking quite some advantage of her. When lunch came, I took the breakfast lunchbox to steam it quickly so it would be warm, stuffed a few bites down to fill my stomach, and then sat dazed within these 4 walls. No phone, no TV, no books, and no friends in sight. 1,651. I couldn't find any form of entertainment, recreational activities, to pass the time. Although I had somewhat adapted to being isekai'd here, this kind of boring life was truly a torment. I just lay in my room feeling miserable, questioning my life choices without taking a single step out the door. Whenever I opened my eyes, I would roll over and lie there singing. When I got up, I would take a sip of water, and if I got tired, I would drift back to sleep. It wasn't until past 12 o'clock at night, while I was fast asleep, that the sound of a man's angry shouting and a woman's screaming suddenly reached my ears, mixed with the sound of children crying hysterically. I jolted awake, sitting straight up, thinking I was experiencing sleep paralysis or sleepwalking, but those agonizing noises just kept going. Fully awake now, I rushed out to open the door. 1670. The third-floor corridor was already packed with a crowd watching the drama. Everyone's face was clearly filled with annoyance. A neighbor auntie saw me poke my head out and warmly struck up a conversation. "Young man, you were woken up too, huh? It's Company Commander Chu's family next door. His wife Liu Xuanhua just brought her luggage from the countryside to live with him a few days ago. This wife has a fiery temper like thunder. All day long, she keeps picking fights with Company Commander Chu." 1681. Who knows what triggered her this time? I scanned, but today she went crazy again. I looked around, the surroundings. Some people looked annoyed and grumbled, complaining about disturbing the neighborhood in the middle of the night and not letting anyone sleep. Others, with too much free time, looked gloating and amused, enjoying the show. A few people gathered in groups of 3 or 4, whispering and gossiping. I stuffed both hands deep into my pajama pockets, my fingers playing with the safety pin I picked up during the day. I saw the wife push her 2 hysterically crying children straight out the door, then turn her head, pointing directly at her husband's face in the room, shouting furiously, "Chu Cheng, you shameless bastard! Today you'd better confess honestly to me. Who was that seductive fox in the waist-hugging coat during the day? Otherwise, right now, I'll take the 2 kids and pack back to the countryside to satisfy you." I already explained until my mouth was dry. "I don't even know her. She was just asking me for directions, that's all. You're making such a scene, don't you care about your dignity?" For some reason, his words hit a sore spot for Liu Xuanhua. She became as furious as a wild lioness, pouncing forward to claw at Chu Qiang. Feeling the burning pain on his face, Chu Qiang hastily raised his hands to block her. But somehow his hand swung. "You dare hit me? You dare lay a hand on me for some other trashy woman? During the day, you were all smiles and flirting with that girl. And now you have the nerve to complain that I'm embarrassing you, Chu Qiang. Even if I die, I'll drag you down with me." She pounced on him for some close-quarters combat, punching and kicking all over the place. Chu Qiang's blood also boiled with anger, and just like that, the 2 rolled on the floor and tangled in a brawl. The neighbors, watching the drama, widened their eyes and hastily rushed in to pull them apart. But everyone completely underestimated the brute strength of a village woman. No matter how they pulled, Liu Xuanhua, she wouldn't budge. The scene turned into total chaos, like chickens flying and dogs barking. I crossed my arms, watching these 2 beat each other up. It was getting bloodier. The crying kids, who were being shielded by some aunties at the door, saw their parents fighting and cried even more hysterically. "Damn it, this is so headache-inducing. The noise is loud enough to tear my eardrums apart." 1732. This woman's emotional state, then the emotional state, is way too agitated. Her eyes are completely bloodshot. Any second now, she might suffer a brain hemorrhage and pass out with foam at her mouth. Thinking of this, I silently straightened the safety pin hidden in my pocket, took quick strides, and rushed forward. With my right hand, I grabbed her shoulder firmly and yanked her backward. Liu Xuanhua, cursing and stumbling, took a big step back from the momentum. I temporarily separated the 2, taking advantage of Liu Xuanhua's dazed and unaware state. I pressed down hard and accurately poked the safety pin into an acupoint on her body. Liu Xuanhua instantly felt her entire body go numb. Her limbs weakened and her strength drained rapidly without stopping. I quickly poked her a second time. Her entire tense nervous system immediately deflated and relaxed. Her expression turned blank and her eyes glazed over. I knew this was a natural reaction when someone who had just gone through extreme rage was suddenly relieved. I hoisted her up, carried her into the house, and gently tossed her onto the sofa. Liu Xuanhua immediately fell into a half-conscious, drowsy state. My movements were extremely swift. In a flash, everything was smoothly done like a passing breeze. The onlookers behind stood frozen with their mouths wide open. What the hell just happened? What kind of dark magic did Regiment Commander Song's new husband just use? What exactly happened? Song Qinghuan had just returned from her mission when she suddenly remembered that she hadn't dropped by to bring food to Yu Shen this afternoon. Did he poke his head out to the military mess hall to ask for food? To think that after only bringing him food for a few days, she had already picked up this habitual chore. Whatever, Yu Shen is a grown man, after all. Who would actually starve themselves to death, right? Then there was a loud pounding on the door. Regiment Commander Song, we have a situation. At the family quarters, Company Commander Chu and his wife got into a bloody brawl. Your husband also jumped in to join them. What did you just say, Yu Shen jumped in? To join the fight with that couple. No one knows what your husband did to Company Commander Chu's wife, but now she has suddenly collapsed and is lying completely unconscious. The aunties from that building have already rushed to carry her to the hospital for an exam. The kids are terrified and crying hysterically. Even Company Commander Chu went to the hospital to get bandaged up. This incident has caused a massive scene and has even reached the ears of the brigade commander. Even your husband was hauled off to the hospital too. Company Commander Chu, if he can't even handle his own household affairs, then forget it. But this time he even dragged an outsider into this mess. At this moment, in a small clinic room of the military hospital, two kids were huddled close together on a wooden bench, their hands trembling as they gulped down warm water given by the nurse. Company Commander Chu sat silently in a corner, letting the nurse treat the scratches and nail marks all over his face and neck. Scratches, when the cotton swab with medicine wiped directly over Company Commander Chu's wounds. He suppressed the sting, holding back tears and silently clenching his fists. Lying completely, flat on the hospital bed, still unconscious, was Liu Xuanhua. Chu Qiang raised his head and saw the leadership arrive. With so many neighbors still around, he kept his head low, unable to say a word for a long time. Meanwhile, I was leaning sideways against the wall, hands in my pockets, looking completely carefree and casual. A hint of a smile was playing on my face, but my eyes were completely cold, as if I were mocking them. Regiment Commander Song. Regiment Commander Song is here, someone called out. I turned my head to look. Song Qinghuan's face was filled with urgency. Her hair didn't seem fully dry yet, so it was obvious she had just showered not long ago. She exuded a casual, lazy beauty, and standing among the neighborhood aunties, she looked peerlessly beautiful. Song Qinghuan spotted me standing there at first glance and walked over quickly. What's going on here? I could feel that she seemed a little angry. Before I could even open my mouth, she asked, Are you hurt? Looking at the woman before me, whose eyes were full of worry, I was stunned for a moment. The crowd nearby had shocked expressions on their faces. What on earth is Regiment Commander Song doing? Liu Xuanhua is lying completely unconscious on the bed. Did she not see that? Company Commander Chu's face is covered in swollen scratches. Did she not see that either? Is this young man, who is standing here perfectly fine, the only one in her eyes? Regiment Commander. Sister-in-law Xuanhua still hasn't woken up yet. Just now your husband seemed to have poked her twice with a needle and then carried her into the house. When we followed them inside, we couldn't wake sister-in-law Xuanhua up anymore. Thinking about it sent a shiver down their spines. This man, who looked so elegant and refined, had used just a single needle to silently knock someone out. It was absolutely terrifying. At this moment, I looked at Song Qinghuan standing right next to me and said, Company Commander Chu and his wife got into a heated argument. His wife's blood pressure spiked and her eyes were bloodshot. I was afraid she might suffer a brain hemorrhage, so I gave her 2 acupuncture pokes to help her calm down. She'll be fine after a good sleep. My deep magnetic voice reached everyone's ears. They all exchanged glances. Hearing the commotion, Brigade Commander Zhang Hongwu also walked over, along with his wife Li Hongmai. Chu Qiang, it's your household again. What happened this time? She made a scene out of nothing, sister-in-law. It's not like I didn't warn you. Xuanhua traveled thousands of miles to live with the military, which isn't easy. You should yield to her a bit. Sister-in-law, please judge this for me. Today, a woman approached me to ask for directions, and we only spoke 2 sentences in total. But she insisted that I was having an affair with her. Tell me, how can I yield to her under these circumstances? Brigade Commander, Xuanhua is indeed just asleep. She will wake up in a little while. Liu Xuanhua's blood pressure is a bit high. Normally she needs to be careful, not to get too agitated. It's exactly as he said. Liu Xuanhua is really just asleep, just 1 needle. Poked twice could actually make someone fall fast asleep. Moreover, he could even tell that Liu Xuanhua has high blood pressure. This is simply incredible. Under everyone's admiring gazes, I slightly raised my chin without saying a word. How ridiculous. I've been studying Chinese medicine since I was 3 years old. Targeting a minor acupoint is as easy as pie for me. 1890. Seeing that there was nothing else to do, everyone dispersed. In the dead of night, the clock already pointed to 2 a.m. When I walked out of the hospital, a cold breeze blew past. I instinctively rubbed my arm since I was only wearing pajamas. Song Ching-hwan handed the military coat she was holding to me. I froze for a moment, 1898, puzzled. Where did this military coat come from? Full of questions. Where did this military coat come from? You're wearing too little. I just went to find the doctor, on duty to borrow it. Remember to return it tomorrow. I took it and draped it over myself, glancing at the woman beside me. The dim streetlights shone on her face, making the usually cold Song Ching-hwan look a bit more gentle. Thank you. This paper wife of mine is actually pretty thoughtful. Walking from the military clinic back to the family quarters was still quite a distance. Since that incident happened tonight, both of us were obviously not sleepy. Yushin, let's talk for a bit. Sure, what about, aren't you a doctor of Western medicine, how? Are you so skilled with the acupoints of the human body? I started learning traditional Chinese medicine when I was 3 years old. I didn't expect you to be so awesome. Oh, right. There's one more thing. Next time before you're fully awake, don't just open the door for others. Why? It's because I know this is a military compound, so there are no bad people. Besides, you're the only one who would come looking for me. Don't worry, I won't do it again. I must have been half asleep at the time, thinking I was at home, so I just opened the door out of habit. Is that so? Then Yushin, what kind of person do you think I am? I was caught off guard by this sudden question from Song Ching-hwan. The streetlight stretched her shadow. Her cold eyes in the night seemed a lot gentler. I scratched my head. To be honest, you're very good, upright, and thoughtful. And you're also very responsible. You're a good regiment commander. And a good comrade. The moment those words came out, I regretted them a little. Why did I slip up and say, comrade? Right now, we are legally husband and wife, even though it was just an accidental mix-up. Just a comrade, huh? All along the way, she helped me find my luggage, brought me a military coat, helped me set up the stove, and brought me food every day. Even though I only wanted a divorce, she never showed any attitude toward me. If it were someone else, suddenly being served with divorce papers after traveling thousands of miles just to get a divorce, they would have lost their temper long ago. Ching-hwan, you're really a great person. It's just that this marriage was originally a misunderstanding. I don't want to hold you back, nor do I want to settle. I've been pampered by my family since I was a kid. I can't handle hardships, let alone settle down, in this border region. I want to return to the capital to develop my career and live a stable life. I know. I've already pushed the divorce application. It should be approved in 2 days. I breathed a sigh of relief, but suddenly felt a strange sense of emptiness. By the time we reached the family quarters, it was already midnight. Just as I was about to open the door, she called me back. Yushin, today? Thank you. If it weren't for you, company commander, Chu's family matter would have turned into a much bigger mess. It was nothing. I'm a doctor. I couldn't just stand by and watch something happen. I smiled, finished speaking, and went inside. Lying on the bed, I tossed and turned, unable to sleep. The situation with Company Commander Chu's wife kept flashing before my eyes. Then I thought of Yu Yibai, who had married Song Ching-hwan in my place. That idiot who committed suicide over some female-educated youth. At the end of the day, she was the one who schemed against him. That female-educated youth was saved after Yu Yibai committed suicide. I haven't forgotten this matter. It can't just be let go. Sabotaging a military marriage is illegal. She didn't just ruin Yu Yibai, she almost ruined Ching-hwan's reputation and future. We absolutely cannot let her stay in prison so peacefully. Early the next morning, for once I didn't sleep in. Regiment Commander, that's the whole story. So you mean that female-educated youth, from beginning to end intentionally, seduced Yu Yibai, 1995, scammed him out of his money and finally forced him, defrauding him of his money and finally forcing him to commit suicide over love? Yes, it's because she couldn't stand the hardships in the countryside, so she wanted to find a long-term meal ticket. The honest Yu Yibai was completely manipulated by her. Even though Yu Yibai is dead, she also had to pay a worthy price for the crime of sabotaging a military marriage. The female regiment commander immediately ordered her men to reopen the case. Upon investigation, they found out that the female-educated youth in prison still hadn't behaved herself, trying to drag others down with her and even wanting to use connections to get a reduced sentence. With rock-solid evidence, plus the fact that Ching-hwan's side had provided the original marriage certificate along with the victim's testimony, that educated youth eventually had her sentence increased. For the rest of her life, she can only redeem her sins in prison, which is just karma doing its work. When the news reached the military compound, everyone breathed a sigh of relief for King Huan. The neighbors who used to frequently gossip also changed their view of me. That afternoon, Song Huan placed the divorce application before me and put a fountain pen into my hand. It's approved. Sign it. I stared at the word divorce on the paper, my fingers freezing. For a long time, isn't this the result I had always wanted? But at this very moment, I somehow couldn't bring myself to write. Scenes of the past few days flashed by one. In the desert, she let down, her guard against me for the first time. In the car, she quietly drove as smoothly as possible so I could sleep. At the mess hall, she silently ate all the food I put on her plate. At night, she helped me light the stove and prepared slippers for me. She had never once forced me to do anything, always respected my thoughts, and took care of my habits. Even the fact that I did not like eating food made of coarse grains and hated showering at the public bathhouse, she had silently kept them in mind. Huan, let's not get divorced anymore, okay? What did you say? We're not getting divorced anymore. Previously, I was just too foolish and only thought about my own comfort, without realizing how good the person beside me is. You're so good and deserve to be treated with cherish. This mistaken marriage perhaps isn't a pit dug by heaven, but a gift that heaven bestowed upon me. Aren't you unable to handle hardships? Don't you want to return to the capital? The conditions at the border are very poor, and I often go out on missions, sometimes for months at a time. I can learn. I can learn to cook, do laundry, and change the honeycomb. Coal. I can stay at the military hospital as a doctor, using my medical skills to help more people. I can wait for you to return from your missions and stew soup for you, or treat your old wounds. I can handle the hardships, as long as the person beside me is you. The men around us had already gathered at some point. Young man, I knew you were a sensible person. I've said that these two kids are a match made in heaven. I didn't sign the divorce papers. Instead, I tightly held Song Huan's hand. Amidst everyone's applause, I said, let's go. Let's go submit our marriage registration again. This time it is Yu Shen who is wholeheartedly willing to marry you, Song Huan. Huan looked at me and finally let out a smile. In the days that followed, I truly learned how to live life from the smallest things. I followed my wife, the female regiment commander, to learn how to cook. In the beginning, I always did poorly. If it wasn't burnt, it was bland and tasteless. I'm afraid you won't be able to eat these dishes later. Why wouldn't I? No matter how badly you cook, I'll eat every single bite. Later, I put even more heart into it. I didn't just learn to cook, but also did the laundry myself, changed the honeycomb coal, and kept the house neat and tidy. Seeing this, Huan said, "You're getting more and more capable now. Our little nest is feeling more and more like a warm home." I hugged her. "It's all because of you. I want to give you a warm home." After that, I started working at the military hospital, trying to combine Eastern and Western medicine to treat the soldiers' wounds. Even formulated a massage oil myself. Once a soldier was injured during training, and after applying the massage oil, his muscles instantly relaxed. They called me Miracle Dr. Yu. This massage oil of yours is truly miraculous. Oh, stop it. As long as I can help everyone, that's what matters. Isn't that right, whether it's a training injury or an old wound acting up? Applying a bit of this brings instant relief. You are truly a miracle doctor for everyone. I even brought my family to the border for a visit. My parents and sisters, the moment they saw Huan, pulled her hand and wouldn't let go. This child is... You really struck gold. Huan is such a good girl. You must treat her really well, do you hear me? Seeing you settle down here, our hearts, that were always hanging in suspense, have finally been put at ease. Yuyabai's family also went out of their way to come apologize. They held my hands and said, back then we were so foolish. To steal the household register to make a random match. For all these years we have always felt extremely guilty. We hope you won't hold a grudge. Uncle, Aunt, I don't blame you guys. The person is already gone. So the old grudges should fade away too. Rest assured, I will treat Huan really well. On behalf of Yabai, as well as on behalf of myself, I will protect this home. Half a year later, Song Huan and I held a simple wedding at the military compound. There was no luxurious or grand ceremony, only our comrades and families from the entire compound. Everyone ate, drank, and raised their glasses, as lively as if celebrating the new year. Song Huan, in her military uniform, stood beside me, her eyes filled with gentleness. I held her hand amidst everyone's blessings and said, before I used to think this marriage certificate was a trouble, but now I know that this is actually the most precious blessing in my life, Song Huan. For the rest of my life, I'll protect you. You protect the country, and we will never part. 2134. After that, After that, I became a national cadre at the military hospital, treating countless border soldiers. My massage oil and sunscreen were also improved and upgraded, not only supplied for the military's use but also helping many soldiers' families improve their skin issues. Song Ching-hwan was also successfully promoted and transferred back to the capital's military headquarters. I followed her back to the capital, continuing to work as a doctor at the military hospital. We had an extremely adorable child. Every weekend, we would bring our child home to visit our parents. The big family was always lively. Occasionally, I would look back on the first day I arrived at the border, having to walk for 4 whole hours in the desert. Back then, my mind was completely filled with thoughts of divorce. Yet fate is just that miraculous. A mistaken marriage actually led me to the true love of my life. It turns out the best life is not about smooth sailing or just lying around enjoying blessings, but about having someone worth protecting, having a career that you love, and having a home that is always filled with the warmth of family. Song Ching-hwan leaned on my shoulder, watching the sunset outside the window. You shun. Thank you for staying. The one who should say thank you is me. It is you who let me experience the warmth of this world, Ching-hwan, and have a truly fulfilling rest of my life. You're very tired, aren't you, Quick? Have a sip of warm water? I've stewed the soup you like. How did you know I wanted to have soup today? Whenever you're tired, you always want to have something light. I remember it very clearly. Quick, have a taste. This time it's not burnt. It's much better than last time. Our Dr. Yu now not only has superb medical skills, but his cooking skills are also getting better and better. Well, of course. Don't you see whose husband I am? This little kid is getting more and more clingy to you. When you were young, were you also like this? Both spoiled and clingy. I'm only clingy to you. Our son is just like me. He is only clingy to his mom. Don't talk nonsense in front of the child. Looking at her gentle appearance, I couldn't help but recall the first days when I first arrived at the desert military compound. Back then, my mind was completely filled with thoughts of divorce, yet now I am wholeheartedly willing to stay by her side and protect her. Even I feel it is quite unbelievable. What are you thinking about? Thinking about back then when I first arrived at the military compound, complaining about everything, and only wanting to run away. I was truly an idiot. At that time, I even helped you set up the stove, yet you took it for granted. At that time, I also thought a young master like you would definitely not want to stay. You wouldn't go to the public bathhouse, you wouldn't eat food made of wheat, and you would sleep until noon. I was even worried about how you were going to survive. Isn't it all thanks to you taking good care of me? I didn't like eating food made of wheat, so you secretly brought white rice to me. I was afraid of waking you up, so every time I came, I walked on tiptoe. In the middle of the night, when you handled Company Commander Chu's drama, I was the first to rush over, to ask if you were hurt. I'm your wife, so of course I have to protect you. That day when I asked what kind of person you thought of me, you said a good comrade. The moment you said it, you regretted it. Ching-hwan, I don't want to be just your comrade. I want to be the one by your side for the rest of my life. Back then, when I saw you sitting before the divorce application, hesitating to sign, my heart felt like it was about to jump out. No matter how harsh the border is, as long as I have you, I'm willing to stay. I can learn to cook, do laundry, and change the honeycomb coal. I can work as a military doctor to protect you and the soldiers you are protecting. After that, I followed sister-in-law Li Hongmai to learn cooking. Every time I brought out my cooking, I was always nervous. Ching-hwan, give it a taste. If it's not good, I'll cook it again, okay? But every single time she would smile, eat it, and say, it's delicious. This is the most delicious meal I've ever had. Slowly, I got the hang of it, from 2,228 vertical bar burning the pots to mastering the kitchen. Just because I wanted that every time. She came home, there would be hot food and warm soup waiting for her. After I entered the military hospital, I upgraded the massage oil for injuries. I always smiled and gave it to everyone but turned around to pack a bottle specifically for Ching-hwan. During training, your old injuries often flare up. Apply a little every day. With me here, any injury will heal quickly. I also made a special jar of sunscreen for her. No need to fear the strong winds and harsh sun of the desert. In the future, don't let your skin peel from sunburn anymore. This is the best sunscreen in the world, and only you have it. Whenever Ching-hwan went on a mission, I would always stand at the door waiting for her. The moment she came back, I would ask, are you tired? Are you hungry? Let me warm up some soup for you, as long as I have you waiting. For me, no matter how far I go or how tired I am, it's all worth it. Dr. Yu, I'm off. Be safe. I'll wait for you at home tonight. I didn't expect our young master of the Yu family to actually know how to do these things. For you and our child, I can learn anything. Before I was the youngest child in the family, pampered by my sisters, but now I am a husband and a father. who must shoulder this entire family. On weekends, we brought Nian Huan back to my parents' home. Qing Huan, 2260. This brat Yu Shen was extremely spoiled since childhood. This Shen guy was spoiled since childhood. Luckily, you were there to teach him a lesson. He is very sensible and loves our child very much. He used to be a little tyrant at home, but now he has become a doting husband. It's true that everyone meets their match. This mistaken marriage allowed you to meet Qing Huan. That is your blessing. I will definitely treat her extremely well. Ha ha ha, I knew you two were a match made in heaven. Back. Then I advised Qing Huan to hold on to you, but she was so stubborn. Now look at how happy you two are. See? What I said back then wasn't wrong, right? Yushen is a good kid. It's because I'm very lucky to have him. Yushen, do you ever regret staying back then? Never. Before I only wanted an easy life in the capital. But now, I want even more to work hard, make lots of money, and take care of you and our child. Only now do I realize that the best days are when I have you, our child, and a warm home. You protect the country, and I'll protect you. She is the strongest poplar tree in the Gobi Desert, the most majestic female regiment commander in the barracks, and the one I, Yushen, am willing to do my utmost to protect. A mistaken marriage certificate actually tied a red thread across thousands of miles. A single meeting at the border destined a lifetime of togetherness. In the years to come, I will always accompany Song Qing Huan amidst the warmth of this ordinary world. From youth to old age, from dark hair to graying temples, we will never part. Returning to the capital, I also had a small cozy home that truly belonged to me. There was no dust or wind of the desert, and no clamor of the military family quarters. It had a bright balcony, and a cozy kitchen where every single decoration was chosen by the two of us together. We lived extremely peaceful and comfortable days. In the early morning, I always woke up even before the alarm went off. I gently got out of bed, so as not to wake Qing Huan, who was still fast asleep. Nian Huan was growing up day by day. Every day she would wake up with me, her short legs pattering, all the way to the kitchen door. She would hold on to the doorframe and call out, "Daddy." Her sweet, childish voice could melt anyone's heart. I would tease her while cooking. The morning sun shone through the window, casting two shadows, one big and one small. It was incredibly warm. By the time Qing Huan woke up, a hot breakfast was always laid out on the table. She sat at the table in her military uniform, her eyes gentle. No longer the cold regiment commander at the border, but simply my wife. She ate very gracefully, occasionally putting some food onto my plate and then feeding a bite to Nian Huan. The breakfast of our family of three, though simple, was filled with warmth. Waiting for her to get fully dressed in her uniform to go out, I would always see her to the door, help her adjust her collar, and tell her to stay safe. She would turn back and smile, which instantly brightened my entire day. My work at the capital's military hospital gradually got on track. Thanks to my integrated Eastern and Western medicine approach, I became a somewhat famous military doctor in the hospital. Quite a few comrades, hearing that I was good at post-training recovery and treating old injuries, specifically sought me out. I patiently treated them all, sharing my improved massage oil with everyone. And the results were always highly consistent. When I wasn't busy with work, I would organize medical records in my office or research new physical therapy formulations. My days were full and hopeful, no longer like the young man from years ago who only wanted to slack off and make quick money. After finishing work in the afternoon, I went to pick up Nian Huan from school on time. My sweet girl, wearing her tiny backpack, would run and leap into my arms the moment she saw me, endlessly babbling about interesting stories from kindergarten. On the way home, we would buy some fresh ingredients, wondering if Qing Huan would be home for dinner tonight, so I could cook the dishes she liked. Those were the very seeds Qing Huan brought back from the Gobi Desert, which were now growing lush and green under the capital's sun. If Qing Huan got off work on time, our home would become even livelier. She would play with toys with Nian Huan in the living room, while I cooked in the kitchen. The clatter of pots and pans, mingled with the laughter of our child and her occasional reminders, created the most beautiful melody of life. My cooking skills had long since become masterful. I never burned a pot anymore, nor was the food ever bland. Every single dish was perfectly tailored to her taste. She would always smile and say that my cooking was the most delicious in the world. If she had to work overtime or go on a mission, I would keep Nian Huan company at home waiting for her. I would bathe our child and tell her bedtime stories. Even after she was fast asleep, I always left a light on in the living room and kept a pot of soup warm. No matter how late it was, as soon as she pushed open the door and walked in, she could instantly have a hot bowl of soup. When she was exhausted and leaned back on the sofa, I would sit down beside her. When she tiredly leaned back on the sofa, I would sit right beside her, gently massaging her neck and shoulders while listening to her share various little stories about the military, never interrupting or complaining, only quietly keeping her company. Weekends were the times we relaxed the most. I would take Qinghuan and Nianhuan for a stroll in the park, watching our child run and play on the grass. We would sit shoulder to shoulder on a stone bench basking in the sun and chatting about random things. No need to worry about missions. No need to stress over medical records, having only each other and the peaceful days ahead of us. Occasionally, we would also visit my hometown. My parents and sisters, seeing our family of 3 so harmonious and happy, would always smile from ear to ear, holding Qinghuan's hand tightly, unwilling to let go. With my dedicated care, Qinghuan's old injuries rarely flared up anymore. I even made a special sunscreen for her. She always carried it with her, whether going for training or going out, never willing to switch to another brand. That was a gentleness that belonged solely to me, unmatched by anyone else. Looking at the gentle smile, growing more and more frequent in her eyes, my heart was filled with gratitude. I was truly lucky that I didn't let go back then, lucky that I chose to stay by her side. The regrets and entanglements of the past had long faded away with the passage of time. The easy life in the capital that I once yearned for was now truly in my hands, and it was even more wonderful than I had imagined. It wasn't because of the luxury or the wealth, but because I had her and our child by my side, along with a complete home filled with warmth and love. I tightened my embrace around her, looking up at the starry sky, feeling completely firm in my heart. Qinghuan, you protect the country, and I'll protect you. May our years be peaceful, and may we never part. This is our life. After returning to the capital, simple and tranquil. There is nothing heroic or grand about it, yet it far surpasses all the vanity of this world.